Okay, so let's wrap up this lesson by talking about discontinuities. And what we've talked about, previously when looking at functions is discontinuities are breaks in the graph. And there's three basic discontinuities that we are going to discuss. The first one is removable point discontinuities, which is basically going to be holes. And we looked at that in a graph. It just looks like a nice little blank hole. And then I kind of referred to it previously in this lesson. We'll talk about, when the holes are, when they occur and why they're called removable. And then we talk about our two non-removable. The first one is the infinite discontinuities, which is the asymptote, a vertical asymptote. And remember, that's where the graph is approaching a value, but it never actually reaches it or crosses it. And then we have the non-removable jump discontinuities, which I'm not gonna discuss today in this video, because we'll get to that once we start talking more about piecewise functions. But that's just basically where you have one graph and then you have to jump to another graph. So in these examples, I'm just going to be working with rational expressions. And by looking at rational expressions, we're primarily going to be looking at, is it a hole or is it a vertical asymptote? And to differentiate between those two is determine, is it removable or is it non-removable? So the way to understand that is to basically simplify our rational expression as much as possible algebraically. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go through 8 different examples showing you how to algebraically simplify them, as well as then identify the discontinuities and label the type of discontinuity as a hole or as a vertical asymptote. So the first one is not really the best one to pick. I think I did these not in order, but I'll just go through the first one. You might want to maybe start, if you're doing these on your own, maybe start with some of these down here. But actually, let's just kind of go out of order. I think I already did these, so that would be good. All right, so let's just look at this first example. So in this first example, you want to see if you can simplify it. Now, there's really nothing I can simplify here. I could rearrange these if I wanted to. Y equals negative 5x, plus 1 over 3x plus 2. But there's really nothing that simplifies out. So therefore, I know my only discontinuity is going to be when the denominator is equal to 0. So I'll set my denominator 3x plus 2 equal to 0, and I'll go ahead and solve. I'll subtract the 2, divide by the 3. X is going to equal a negative 2/3. Now, since nothing got simplified in the numerator and denominator, this is what we call a fixed discontinuity. It can't be removed at all, and I'll show you an example of something being removed. So therefore, at x equals negative 3 is going to be a vertical asymptote. And just to kind of save time in me writing, I'm just going to use VA for vertical asymptote. Now let's go and get over to G. Let's look at this one here. So in this example, if, again, the same thing here, as I look at this and say, all right, well, let's simplify this. Here, at least I see a trinomial. I say, oh, well, I can at least factor a trinomial. So if I rewrite this in factored form, nothing really I can do in the denominator or in the numerator. But in the numerator, I can say what two numbers multiply to give me negative 3, add to give me negative 2. And I can say that's going to be x minus 3 and x minus 2. Now, x plus 1. 1. X plus 1. Factoring practice. Because negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. 1 times x is x. Negative 3x plus x is negative 2x. Okay, so now, again, there's nothing really I can do to further simplify this. So therefore, I'm just going to set my denominator equal to 0 to identify my discontinuities. And since this cannot, since you set them equal to 0, just like we did with the domain, now I could do the 0 product property and solve them each for 0, but hopefully you kind of get the idea that they're both going to set equal to negative 1. So when x equals 3 or when x equals negative 2, these are values that are not in the domain. But what are they then? Are they, an asymptote or are they a hole? Well, since there's nothing we could do to remove them, they are vertical asymptotes. Okay, so hopefully maybe by now you're like, all right, well then, where exactly do these holes come into? So let's go and work into a couple examples with factoring here. Let's look at this one. I think this is probably one of the easier ones to work with as far as factoring. So in here, I notice that my numerator is factorable as well as my denominator. So, oh, I did forget to change that. Dang it, I'm going to change this. Sorry. I wrote it in there, but I forgot to make the change. Anyways, that's going to be a 6. So if I want to go ahead and factor this, you can factor out the numerator using the difference of two squares, x minus 2 times x plus 2. And my denominator, I can just factor out a common factor of x. So therefore, I'm left with an x minus 2. Now again, when you're identifying the domain or the discontinuities, before you actually start, doing anything else, once you have it simplified, still set your denominator equal to 0. Because I see a lot of students will look at this and they say, oh, hey, x minus 2's divide out to 1. Yes, they do. But that comes importance. That does not negate the fact that x equals 2 is still a discontinuity. I don't know why I wrote that as a 2. Oops. That does not escape the fact that your original expression is x times x minus 2 equals 0 in the denominator, meaning x equals 0 is a discontinuity and x equals 2 is a discontinuity. Now, the fact that the x minus 2's divide out tells us it is what we call removable, because when you simplify that, right, you're left with x plus 2 over x. So the x minus 2's got divided into 1, or they got removed from the function. But however, what that does is that just creates a hole. So if you look at the graph, all these functions, I put them in Desmos so you can see what the graph is. You'll see that there's only an asymptote at 0. There's no asymptote at 2 because there's actually a hole in the graph. So at x equals 0, that is non-removable, so that's my vertical asymptote. And at x equals 2, since that is removable, that is going to be a hole. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at another factoring one. Let's come down here. So in this case, if I want to go ahead and factor this, again, I kind of noticed that the numerator looks very similar here. Looks like that's a perfect square trinomial, and yes, indeed it is. Let me use a different color here. Let's use purple. So I can rewrite that as 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1 all over, oops, why am I writing a square there? Sorry about that. All over 2x plus 1. So again, before I simplify, because I know they're the same, I'm going to set my denominator equal to 0, because I don't want to forget that. Now, I can divide these terms out. It doesn't matter which one you do, but you can only do one, right? You can't divide this 2x plus 1 into both of those. And again, the only reason why I can divide them out is by using the division property, since these terms are separated by multiplication. So for instance, a little FYI, you cannot do that. You cannot divide out those ones because those ones with the other terms are separated by addition. So you cannot divide across addition. However, since these terms are separated by multiplication, that's why I could divide them out. So anyways, this divides out. That means it's removable. Now I just solve to find my inequality, which in this case is subtract the 1, divide by 2, which is negative 1/2. And that becomes a whole. All right, let's see here. Let's go over to this one. Actually, let's do this one. I don't know why I did these way out of order. Sorry about that if you're hoping for me to do them in order, but I'll get to all of these. All right, looking at this last example here, or not this last, I guess the last one I listed. I can factor out the numerator. Now, I can't factor out a variable, but I can factor out the number 2. So y equals 2 times 3x minus 2. And then in the denominator, I can factor out a 2. And x squared minus x minus 6. Now, I wanted to point out here, the 2's divide out, right? But that doesn't affect the discontinuities. Remember, we're looking for discontinuities. We're looking for like x equals, right? So we're setting the denominator equal to 0. The fact of the matter that 2 divides out does not make there a whole at 2, because 2 is never a discontinuity. When we go ahead and solve, well, actually, oh crap, I did pick a, well, now when I go ahead and solve this, I probably chose some wrong numbers, and I think 2 actually ends up being a discontinuity, which totally messes my point of doing that. But whatever else, it's not a discontinuity just because it divides out. You got to find the discontinuities by setting the denominator equal to 0, which means that we now have to factor. So what two numbers multiply to give me negative 6, add to give me a negative 1. So that's going to be x minus 3 and a x plus 2. Okay, it's going to be negative 2. Whew. So therefore, my discontinuities are x equals 3 and x equals negative 2. Okay, but again, remembered in the factored form, Oh, I guess I probably should have factored that out. But none of these factors are in the numerator anyways, right? So none of them divide out. So don't say x equals 2 is a whole because it got factored out. It has to be the product with the expressions with x for it to divide out. So therefore, these are both vertical asymptotes, okay? Let's do this one. Oh, another factor. I guess I forgot to do that one. Yeah, well. Let's go over this one. So when looking at this one now, going into your first problem, I don't really like the denominator written like that. So what I usually like to do is I like to rewrite this as a negative x squared plus 1. And then again, I could factor by difference of two squares here, but I prefer to factor out the negative. By factoring out a negative, I get x squared minus 1. Now, that is much easier for me to factor using difference of two squares. So I get y equals, let's see, can I factor out this numerator? That's a perfect square trinomial. What two numbers multiply to give me 1, add to give me negative 2, that's x minus 1 squared. So therefore, that's going to be x minus 1 squared, or I could just write x minus 1 times x minus 1. I prefer to write this in the factored form rather than like as a binomial squared because it's easier to like divide out terms. And then this becomes a negative x minus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, so again, as you can see here, I have a couple discontinuities. I'm not even going to set them equal to 0 because I think it's hopefully at this point you could say, all right, x is equal to 1 and x is equal to negative 1. Now, are any of these wholes or asymptotes? Well, the x minus 1 divides out. Now, you might be careful. This is a good problem because, actually, I probably should write that in there. Don't say, oh, this is now your whole because x is negative. No. Because remember, how did I get 1? I got 1 because x minus 1 equaled 0. So when I set this factor equal to 0, I get x equals 1. So this is my whole. This is my asymptote. Okay, because that one came from x, why don't you put in the parentheses? This one came from setting this factor equal to 0 and then subtracting the 1. And x plus 1 does not get divided out, so that's why that remains the asymptote. You might say, well, what happened with this negative? The negative just got divided out. Just like these 2's get divided out, they don't affect the domain at all. So the negative you can just divide out and it's going to be fine. All right, let's go and get to this next one here. Let's go ahead and factor this. Ooh, do not like factoring with a is not equal to 1, but that's okay. We'll get over it. What two numbers multiply to give you 3, add to give you 4? That's going to be 3 and 1. So therefore, I have x plus 3 times x plus 1. Now, what's nice about this is I could use, preferably, I mean, you're going to probably have one of these factors would be the same. And let's just think about this. Like, if I need to factor this trinomial, I need to have a 2x times an x. Well, it can either be an x plus 3 or an x plus 1, preferably. And if I really want this to be multiplied to give me negative 1, I'm going to want this to be an x plus 1. And so I use that to say, well, 1 times what's going to give me negative 1? So I'm not even trying to factor. I'm just kind of using some information I have to see if that works. And again, when I check my work here by multiplying this in the head, that is the factored form there. Okay, so again, you could use other factoring techniques, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just want to kind of work backwards on that one to kind of give you a little bit of tricks. So therefore, in this case, you can set these both equal to 0. See, I kind of cheated here. I didn't show that step. And so in this case, I'll just, set them both equal to 0. And then, so I'd have 2x minus 1 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. So therefore, add 1, divide by 2, x equals 1/2. Subtract 1, x equals negative 1. However, we see that the negative 1 is my whole, and then therefore this is my asymptote because the x plus 1's get divided out. They're removable. All right, last example. Now, I love this example because if we set our denominator equal to 0, I could try factoring out the numerator. Let's see I don't even know if I chose a factoring term, x squared plus 4x minus 5. Yeah, so you could factor this. So let's factor it. Y equals a negative. Let's see, that's going to be x. No, you can't. Yeah, you can. X plus 5 times that becomes a positive. X plus 5 times x minus 1. Right? That becomes negative 5. That's positive 4x. Good. The denominator, though, I can't factor this, right? So I could go through all this work, but if the denominator is non-factorable, it doesn't really matter if the numerator is factorable. If I set my denominator equal to 0, like let's find these discontinuities, x squared plus 3. So I go ahead and subtract a 3. Negative 3 equals x squared. Take the square root. There's no real numbers that I can take the square root of a negative number to give me x. So guess what? This is a continuous graph. There is no discontinuities. So when you're solving or identifying the discontinuities, make sure that your denominator is that you can solve under the real number system. Otherwise, if you can't, then it is a continuous function. And again, you can verify all of these graphs as well as the domain and the asymptotes and the holes for all these graphs just by using this link here, and you'll go ahead and see those graphs. But I hopefully that this lesson on domain of functions has helped you out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Take care.